I just want Megan, when you get ready to go, I'll be in my home. Thank you. You did find it? Okay, good.
Morning, Governor.
How we doing?
Fine.
You been behaving yourself?
I ain't got no choice. Like that.
You know I have been.
Hey, we still
It's watching me, I have to behave.
Hey, you know that's right.
Hey, Governor, how you doing? Doing great. Hope you are. Yes, sir. Morning, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Glad to have you.
Representative, how you doing?
Hold on just a minute. All right.
No, I'm going to the back.
We get in as many as you want to. We got to stand around and get my Chris, you want to come on around this way? We can just try to get on there. We've got a good crowd. We've been briefing them. Have all the mayors, all I mean, agency heads, kind of get our plan together for the day.
Take a storm of bench on.
Y'all got everybody in this one? You got a full board? Yeah. Okay. Good morning again. We've got Governor Kemp here and his entourage. There's quite a few people outside, but we're glad to have you this morning. We appreciate your help you've given us so far. We're getting a lot done. We're making a lot of progress. We just went over our briefing this morning for the last hour, and everybody's upbeat. The community's really come together, and thank you for your help. And we're still requesting resources, and I know y'all are slammed. Chris right here, the state GEMA director, he's always behind us. And Governor, we'd like for you just to talk to us a little bit about what you know as far as on the state level. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, well, thank you, Russell. Appreciate your leadership. Just want to thank the community for pulling together. Greatest First Lady in the country, Marty Kemp, and I have been on the road the last 2 days to a lot of parts of our rural state, really just following the path of the storm from Valdosta to Augusta. And there's a lot of little small, great communities like this one in our state that are hurting, that have been hit. And it's like I told people, no one was spared in this storm as it moved from Florida across Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, even up into Virginia. But I just want to thank Congressman Allen, who's here with us today, Congressman Rick Allen. The Speaker of the House, John Burns, is with us, the great members of the local legislative delegation and some others that aren't, but Senator Max Burns, Chairman Bush Parish, Representative Ken Vance, Representative Mac Jackson. Also, we've got Secretary of State Raffensperger here with us, obviously the sheriff, a lot of mayors, local elected officials, and community leaders. And I just want to, on behalf of all of us, just know that we're working federal, state, local response to this storm. And as I said, no one has been spared, and I know this county knows that well. I talked to the first responders that responded to the call of the 7-year-old and the 4-year-old that perished here in Washington County, and our thoughts and prayers go out to them and those grieving parents and family members. I just cannot even imagine that. But we've had a lot of instances like that happened across our state. We lost one of our finest, first responder, a deputy fire chief in Pierce County that got killed responding to a call when a tree hit his truck. 58-year-old man in Dublin died when a tree hit his house. In McDuffie County, where Marty and I'll be later today, we had a 27-year-old mom, or had her two one-month-old twin boys in the bed with her. And street. So, you know, to be upright today, with over 160 people killed in the storm across multiple states, we're blessed by that, even though we got a lot of hardships.
Amen.
I've just been asking all Georgians to keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Y'all, this is a massive storm. The biggest storm Georgia Power ever dealt with in our state, there were 1,700 power poles that were damaged and had to be replaced. This one is now up to over 8,000. So it shows the level of intensity of the storm, how wide it was. It's one of the widest hurricanes ever to come across the Gulf, even though it wasn't maybe the strongest from a category perspective. It was still unprecedented for us to get hit in this state by a Category 2 hurricane, and to have it still be a Category 1 when it, you know, got close to, I'm not sure whether it got downgraded to a tropical storm or not, but if you were in it, it felt like a Cat 5. The people I've talked to, you know, they don't ever want to experience something like that again, and we've seen that destruction literally as we've driven from yesterday after lunch in Ben Hill County in Nashville, Georgia, up to where we are today. And it is some of the hardest hit places in our state, and some of the hardest hit in any of these states that got hit by the storm. But we're doing a lot to respond. We're throwing everything we got at this. We currently have 1,600 Georgia National Guard soldiers. These are your neighbors. They're Georgians. They're serving in our state. They're working here just like you are, and they've been called up to duty, and they've been helping clear roads. They've been doing chainsaw cut teams to clear right-of-ways, help power company, help people getting out of homes. They have heavy debris teams that have been working. Now that we got roads opened back up by a lot of our DOT chainsaw cut teams, we had state employees working on clearing roads, and these same people had trees on their houses. So they put their community and their state first, and that's just what these folks do that are responding. I know a lot of people in this community are firefighters, volunteer firefighters, EMTs, law enforcement folks, county commissioners, community leaders have been doing the same exact thing. We've had Department of Natural Resources, chainsaw cut teams, Georgia Forestry Commission. I know we were in Wheeler County last night before we wrapped up for the day, and I heard an incredible story about the DOT chainsaw folks and then the Georgia Forestry Commission people with their bulldozers helping clear roads in that county to get people where they could get back to civilization. Just incredible work that they're doing. I also used the emergency powers yesterday to call up an additional 1,000 guardsmen to help us further respond. We've been flying pallets of water and food on Chinook helicopters to places that would needed stuff immediately that we couldn't get vehicles to. We're now deploying pods, which are points of distribution. So we're setting up distribution points where you can get food, water, tarps, you know, toiletries and other things. So that's rolling now. Just to give you another level of the intensity of this storm, even in metro areas and up in the northeast part of the state where Marty and I are from, and up on into Raven County where the mountains are, the record rainfall in a 48-hour period was from 1886. There was 9.6 inches of rain. This storm brought 11.1 inches of rain in 48 hours. So even though you're dealing with a different kind of disaster here, we're still having to respond, and have been, to flash flooding, evacuations because of failing dams and other things up in the northern part of our state. Thankfully, most of that is starting to normalize, so you're seeing a lot of those resources that were out there being pushed south now. Yesterday, Georgia Power had 15,000 people working on storm response. Today, they have 20,000. So we're starting to see resources build up. So just know, even though there are a lot of local communities that still don't have power or may have partial power, there's a lot being thrown at this, and we just ask people for our patience. As y'all know, we've been under a state emergency a long time. Director Stallings is going to talk a little bit about those kind of things that have allowed GEMA to prepare pre-storm. We knew this was going to be a statewide event. We got the emergency declaration from FEMA yesterday morning for 11 counties. which was good. The bad thing is we had requested 90. And so I called the White House because there was a lot of people in a lot of communities in rural Georgia that were really upset and felt like they had been overlooked. And I told them, you know, I said, this is creating a problem because people feel like they're being forgotten out there. And we were hearing from this. I know the speaker was. His county was one of the ones. The legislators were. Congressman Allen was. And so I called the White House, talked to the President's Chief of Staff. I talked to the FEMA Administrator, Criswell. And they assured me, look, we're going to add more counties. And I said, I understand you're going to do that. The problem is, with them not being designated now, they feel like you're not paying attention to them. And that's not only a response problem, and people need immediate assistance in the personal declaration. I said they just feel like they've been forgotten. And they heard that and they understood that, and we're now up to 41 counties, and I believe we'll be at 80 or 90 before all this is over with. At one point, we had over 1.3 million customers without power. The other thing you got to understand is South Carolina at one point had 1.4 million. You know what destruction there was in that limited part of Florida and then up in North Carolina. So you've had to, 3 and 4 states. There was parts of Alabama, parts of Tennessee that also had issues. So you've had 4 or 5 states that have had to have help and respond to the storm. So that tells you how massive that is. Normally we're dealing with these kind of things. You got 5 or 10 counties and you're having help coming from 3 or 4 states. Now we have 80 or 90 counties, and you have 4 or 5 states that are having the same issues that we are. The Department of Transportation did an incredible job opening state routes. At one point, we had over 140 state routes that were blocked in the state. We've now cleared all of those white line to white line. You're probably going to see a lot of trash on the right-of-ways in this part of the state, especially going back toward Augusta or back toward Dublin and on back toward Valdosta. We're going to come back and get all that. Our priority is making sure the roads are open for first responders, for our power companies, for medical emergencies, for the guard to move supplies, and for commerce to continue to open back up in our state. So just know if we cut stuff and move it out of the way and leave, it doesn't mean we have forgotten you and we're not going to come back. We're just going to come back later. We're trying to get priorities like hospitals back online, which we've done, get cell phone sites online so you can communicate, make sure we have nursing homes, medical facilities, and those kind of 911 centers are our priorities. And we're knocking that out now, and so I think you'll continue to see, just things get better as the days go on. A couple of things, if you have traffic signals out, we have a lot of signals out around the state, just treat that like a 4-way stop. We've had people blowing through intersections. We don't need to have another loss of life because of a traffic accident. So just be patient, kind on the roads. The other thing this morning too, unfortunately it appears we've added 3 more fatalities to the state because overnight someone was running a generator, and we believe it's not confirmed, but we believe it was carbon monoxide poison. So if you're running generators, make sure that you got your generator outside your home and use generator safety. With that, I'm going to let Congressman Allen just say a brief hello, hear from Speaker Burns, and then we'll let Director Stallings wrap us up.
Thank you, Governor, and I do want to thank the Governor. We are a well-led state in Georgia. The response here has been beyond anything that we've seen in any state. Governor, Marty, First Lady, thank you so much. The 12th District got hit probably the hardest in all the counties. And I know we got a few counties left. Bottom line is, if the wind speed was above, and we got in this with Debbie that just came through, that poured a lot of rain on us, Governor. But because some counties didn't have the wind speed, we had a problem getting them declared as disaster. The wind speed's 39 miles per hour. This storm cleared all that up, because I'm hearing 110 miles per hour. And pretty much all the way through the state of Georgia, and then all the flooding up in North Carolina in that area. As far as FEMA's response, obviously we're talking to them every day. They're on the ground. We're going to have, I've talked to our delegation. I've got calls from members across the nation, and we're going to have to do a disaster supplemental to deal with this. The first thing we got to make clear is what constitutes, what can we do, as far as private property, your insurance companies and those folks, and I understand the insurance commissioner said that we're going to have adjusters from other areas of the nation on the ground to try to speed that process up. But as far as, we got to get a number. I am leaving McDuffie County and going to meet with the speaker in Atlanta. He's in Atlanta this evening, and obviously he and I have been in contact with each other, but he understands the seriousness of this thing and the seriousness of helping put our infrastructure and everything back together from a federal standpoint. So that's what we're working on, but again, Governor, Speaker, our delegation, everyone at the state level is, it's all-in government approach to solving this problem. And I want to thank you keeping the faith, for keeping your head down, and continue to work. We were on the call with, this is Brinsley Thigpen, our district director, her husband called over here. He's been running a chain. He's a chiropractor, by the way, which he's going to need a chiropractor because he's been running a chainsaw governor for 4 days. And so, just helping other people. And of course, this was close to home. My wife and I woke up at 5 o'clock Friday morning. A 150-year-old tree hit the top of our house. And so we know what it's like.